Well, guess what? It is the morning after. It's Monday morning, September 23rd. Oh, Annie and Kurt, happy anniversary. First anniversary for my sister and my brother-in-law this year.
Ah,
Very
that's
cool.
great.
I don't know if you guys knew the story, but last year they got married on a Sunday by me. We were
Oh,
out on
really?
the boat.
Oh, cool.
And I mostly bring it up because she was a really big help
Oh,
at
absolutely.
camp.
And a
as were lot
really
of
big
people.
part of camp.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you'll probably see my sister Ann in some videos as if and when the 74 hours of video we shot. Oh my God, it's got to be more than that. You know, gets up. So anyway, it's a beautiful morning here in California.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it.
Vanessa's thinking her last day of sun for like 7 months.
Yeah, it probably will.
And obviously here with Vanessa and Lynn, and we're all sort of in re-entry mode from camp, just feeling like, well, I don't know. What do you feel like?
Well, it's still surreal. I'm feeling like, okay, I need a few weeks to process all this.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's been so much fun, and I'm quite an intense person, so
Gee,
it
thanks.
really so it really comes in, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling still very excited, actually. I'm still here.
I know. Well, that's true. So you're still in a foreign country. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's always exciting on
and
its
with you,
own.
and it's just
Yeah.
Really
And
cool.
how about you? How are you handling the re-entry?
Well, you know, I think as
It hasn't really started. It's only barely started. That's
exactly
the thing.
right. See, we
Yeah.
ended camp yesterday around maybe 11 or noon.
Yeah.
You know, and that was hard to just say, okay, we got to close this up at some point. And people started saying goodbye, and we had said a few goodbyes earlier, and then we all went 12, 13 of us went to the concert last
Right.
night.
So Muriel Anderson
so there's
show.
been these goodbye.
Yeah.
And
Started all over
and
again.
so re-entry doesn't
I had
happen
about 4
until I say
with
goodbye.
Bear.
Yeah. Oh,
the
yeah.
first one was the most emotional one, the big hugs,
Oh.
you know. And then he was around helping clean up and everything
Yeah.
else. So it was, it was kind of nice. He was very, very helpful.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, it's a matter of not wanting to let go until I absolutely have to, because I'm still excited. I'm energized.
Yeah. That's actually
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what some of the events? What were some of the highlights that stand out?
Highlights. Well, to me, it was. I thought it would be, and it was. It was Muriel.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's just the way she plays well. We all know that, but she also the way she talks about her music and how she approaches it, the guitar, the playing, and the right hand, the techniques, all that. It was all interesting.
Yeah.
It was all too cool. But on the other hand, Alex DeGrassi had that same thing.
Mhm.
He had all this that I was like, oh wow, how you do that? And but I love Steve Palazzo as well.
Yeah.
With his flat picking.
Steve did the
and
flat
all.
picking
Yeah.
workshop.
And then Al, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
You know,
it's
it
kinda
was all
keep-
cool.
The list goes on.
Right.
Yeah.
He was so entertaining, and I loved because I had asked him, as in, how can you be so relaxed on stage? How do you do that? And it was very nice to hear how he indeed does that. How
Right.
he saw it, how Paul Simon did that in the early
Road
days,
Homeward
just
Bound, yeah.
talking to people, and he thought, hey, that works.
I can. Yeah.
And he incorporated it
What
in
he
his
had
own
said was
performance.
that why he's so personable on stage was he saw Paul Simon carry on a conversation with, and this is the early days of 1964. Carry on a conversation with the crowd, telling him what he had for breakfast that day, and Al's on backstage thinking, what? Huh?
They listen more when
they
you
loved
talk
it.
to them.
It's right. They get personally attached.
Yeah.
And Al is one of those. Matter of fact, when people asked him if he has stage fright, his answer was, "No, I have off-stage fright. I'm afraid of being off stage. When I'm on stage, I'm in my
pretty
comfort zone."
comfortable on stage.
Yeah, because then nobody, no threats, no, engine.
And what I also liked about his comment about that there is nothing that can happen which I can't incorporate in the performance, except for maybe a terrorist attack or
Right,
something.
but he was saying-
anything in the public or any remarks or even throwing tomatoes at you,
Exactly.
I just incorporated in the performance. So
Yeah.
that was quite
Yeah,
cool
he was
too.
saying that somebody asked him if hecklers ever bothered him, and he said, "No, they become part of the show. They get rolled in. It's a whole play and,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
stuff. So he just goes with the flow
Yeah.
and doesn't get nothing
Yeah.
can derail him, which means nothing can go wrong. If he doesn't know the words to a song, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If he doesn't know the chords, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So the show is still going to be
Just
entertaining, and we're all
Yeah.
going to be
Right.
glad we were there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was pretty cool to hear him talk about it.
Right,
Yeah.
and I think we saw that at a really personal level, you know,
Yeah.
because he got so comfortable. He improvised. He ad-libbed a song about a
Oh, this is, yeah. And, you know, as we were driving up there, I remarked to him that I'd seen him a couple times improvise a song, you know, on the spot. And it was about what he had done that day. It rhymed, it was clever, it was funny at the end. And at one point, and somebody asked him, or no, he was playing a song, and they said, do you know enough, you know, what do you know, how much theory do you know? Do you know what chord you're always playing or something like that? And he said, no, you know, if something sounds good, I'll do it. Sometimes I'll just go to a chord that I don't think should even work, and then I'll make it work in the song. And he played a chord, played an F major 7.
Yeah.
And
that was-
and he said, so like I know this is F major 7, but if I take this finger off, listen to this sound. You know, it splashes through the chord, leaving a B in the chord. And he says, and see, like I don't even know what that is. And he kind of looks at me, and I said, oh, that'd be an add sharp 11 chord. He says,
like boom.
add sharp 11.
What?
And he breaks out the guitar and starts this song about a sharp 11 chord.
Oh yeah.
You know, and luckily we have this all on video. So someday
It was
this video will
hilarious.
be available when Larry sorts through everything.
Right.
And the best part of it was at the end, his punchline was he ended with a really ugly chord that sounded horrible. He said, "So what's that one?" So, you know, it's like he had to have the last laugh.
Right.
And he got
right.
anyway.
Yeah, and add sharp 11 became a big thing here
Right.
in
Now-
camp.
now
and
it's a buzzword.
I was gonna say it's like on the days of Sesame Street, and this weekend was brought to you by add sharp 11. You know,
Right.
So there were so many highlights.
there
Yeah.
were. You know, of course, our guests were fabulous.
Yeah.
Even after just the first day, I was going, well, like, you know,
Yeah.
I feel satisfied already.
Yeah.
So the first day we had, hey, Pot Sticker, come here. Let's
Pot
show you to
Sticker
the
is
crowd.
cat. It took me
This
a
is
while
our-
to figure out what they were talking about.
Many people have heard of Pot Sticker. So let's get him a
He got in a fight.
Yeah, she's a little
cutest.
beat up today, but this is our guard cat, our watch cat.
He acts
Keeps tabs
as
on the
if he
house.
doesn't want to be here, but he's here all
But
the time
he
getting
follows
his
me
cuddles.
everywhere.
Yeah.
So see if he wants to play with the iPad.
Right.
He's so cute.
Right.
He's such a cute guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, when his parents went away, he went out and got in a fight.
Yeah. Which is interesting how the whole thing ended too with the jam session. I'll get back to your story in
Yeah,
just
sure.
a second because that was a great line. But I felt you know, I went to bed about 12:30 last night, and then I talked to Bear the next morning, and some of the people were up till like 4:30
Yeah.
in the Orchard Lodge there saying.
Yeah.
And they said, yeah, we didn't really start having fun until Dad went to bed, and then everybody could,
Yeah.
you know, then we could cut loose.
That's too cool.
It was great. So anyway,
Yeah.
you were talking about at the end of the first day, and so the first day had a kind of a group session with me.
We had a group session. We all played some songs together.
Right,
That
the
was
little Tequila
fun.
Sunrise.
30 guitars playing Tequila
That was
Sunrise.
very cool.
Yeah,
That was really
and
great.
then
An
Steve Palaz.
ocean of guitars.
Right, and I think we have a little video of that, or maybe Knocking on Heaven's Door got the
Right,
video. I think Matt didn't show up yet, and then we had Steve Palazzo come in and talk about mostly about flat picking,
Flat
but the
picking.
guy can do everything, as you
Yeah,
know,
we
as you
seen
saw
it.
last
Yeah,
night.
yeah.
So I kind of painted him as a one-dimensional or a flat picking specialist. He's just an incredible musician.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
but I asked him to do the flat picking thing
Yeah.
just for that flavor, you know. And then Alex DeGrassi. Then we had lunch, and Alex DeGrassi showed up, and a lot of people felt that Alex was like not. What am I going to learn from Alex DeGrassi? This is the king of what he does. And I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
everybody's attitude on that was oh my God, there's all kinds of things that.
Oh, he's a good teacher. He's a very good teacher. He showed us things that we can do to improve our playing and make it
Yeah.
more interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean
No,
to
it's okay, because
Yeah.
I'd rather have you guys tell
Yeah.
a little bit more of this. I'm just trying to get the background here. And one of the things, but that comment about he's a good teacher,
Yeah.
what happens is a good teacher knows what they have to say for people to hear what he wants them to hear. And it's not necessarily, first of all, it's not the same thing for every person, but the more you do it, the more you can kind of generalize it. And you can't just be like a lecturer, like reading from the book in a college class.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
You have to translate
Yeah.
Yeah.
and get the useful stuff to them and cut out the useless stuff.
Yeah.
And that's he obviously
Yeah.
has that ability,
Yeah.
and that's what makes him a good teacher.
Yeah. Oh,
It
absolutely.
was. I think everyone walked away from that with something.
Right.
Something they couldn't wait to sit down quietly with their own guitar and play around with it. I mean,
Yeah.
we had our guitars, but you need those quiet moments.
Right,
to-
you got to process
Yes.
and explore a little more on your own.
Yeah.
Right.
And you've just had this intense, 2.5 hours
Right.
of bombardment after what already happened in the morning,
Yeah.
And then, but I think a few people were kind of not sure of the Degrassi thing, like
Was going to,
because of what.
Right. It going into it, it was a little scary. It's like
Right.
Alex Degrassi is such a wonderful guitarist, and it's so creative. He's such a master, and we were sort of like, ooh, yikes.
Yeah, it could be intimidating.
It was, but it
And I think
wasn't.
everybody-
He set everyone at ease.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was great. And then
Yeah.
and then Doug Young came in and did like an hour thing just before dinner on
Right.
Dad Gad, and I think it was kind of the same thing. It's like some people told me that I wasn't really too much I was afraid of alternate tuning.
Right.
Scott Butler told us that.
Yeah.
And I think that he walked out of the Dad Gad thing thinking, I can try this.
This is doable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think
It
that
is.
was something that was just fun. It was put your guitar in Dagad, and doesn't that sound great? And hey, the chords are really easy. And we
Right.
all worked on a song together and got parts of it. It was great. It was very very satisfying.
He was such a kind man too.
He's
He was very pleasant
really
to listen
nice
to.
guy.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
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 Oh yeah, Doug. I'll PayPal you the money today. Sorry, buddy.
So he was well, and then we all went to the concert.
Oh yeah.
Right.
See,
That was so. This was the
Right.
first day. I guess
It
we
was
should
the
go a
first
little more
day.
into the concert because that was kind of a little bit of a fiasco at first because they are not used to putting on shows there where over 200 people show up.
Yeah.
The place was packed.
It was packed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Not just by us.
yeah,
No.
there were the 40 of us or so,
Yeah.
and
The other
people came out of
200
the
plus
woodwork.
was.
Right, there's a lot of Al Stewart fans out there.
Yeah.
And they found this venue.
Yeah. Well, Santa Cruz is probably the aging hippie capital of the world.
Oh, I see. Okay,
know.
now I get it.
Okay.
Even San Francisco doesn't have as many, and it's 15 times the size. Our generation gravitates
Yes.
towards Santa Cruz. Of course,
Okay.
a lot of them were there their whole lives.
Yeah.
But yeah, Al has a huge following there.
And then Neil played, of course.
Right. And
There was
Neil
that.
played.
It
Whoa,
was actually,
that was
of
great.
course, the first time for me to experience live on stage.
Yeah.
I thought you were very cool.
Talk about incorporating hecklers.
You
Not
were
hecklers,
You
but
were
boy,
so
we-
entertaining.
Yeah, we all had
Yeah.
our things we wanted to hear Neil play, and we weren't afraid about yelling that out.
So it's I may have told you guys this story, but I'll try to keep it short. But planning and doing all this stuff, kind of being camp director,
Yeah.
had its own kinds of obligations and frantic moments and all that kind of
Obviously,
stuff.
yeah.
And you probably saw sometimes that I'd introduce somebody like Alex Degrassi,
And
and then
then-
I had to get out. I had
Yeah,
had
sure.
4 hours worth of stuff to do in the 45 minutes he was going to talk or whatever,
Yeah.
And I barely had time to practice these tunes. I had a possible set list of things I was thinking about doing, but it was only like a rough sketch, and I was really afraid that I was going to walk out there on stage and just have no plan, which is what happened. But the first thing I remember was as soon as I walked out there, everything went away and I was relaxed.
Yeah, you were.
It's like I could, because everything that needed to be taken care of by then was done. It was
Yeah.
over. And I remember thinking later that if I had just been able to go sit down at home and play the guitar right then, I would have had that exact same attitude. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, we got through this, we got everything set up, everybody got here, we got through the first day.
Yeah.
I just sat down and I wasn't sure what I was even going to play. I had an opening song kind of sketched out. I was thinking about playing Jetstream because it's kind of a cool little intro that shows different parts of the guitar. And for some reason, the first thing I did was ask for requests.
Yeah.
And it was a completely impromptu icebreaker.
It was.
And
It was
so
so cool.
so what happened? Somebody asked for like, "Babe, I'm going to leave you." or something.
Yeah.
And so I played about 10 seconds of it.
Yeah, that was so.
Because I said, oh, that's enough of
Yeah,
that.
right,
You know?
right.
And so I thought, oh, well, that would be an interesting theme to, see how many songs I could play, or pieces of songs
Yes.
in a few minutes,
Yeah.
or whatever. And so and before I could do that, the next request that came up was classical gas,
Yeah.
which I had absolutely no intention of playing. And so.
I was surprised that you did.
I was going to start it with the same type of joke, like just play a little of it and then
Right.
and then cut off. And then I got 10 seconds into it, and I realized this song is too sacred to me.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah, you
I gotta
can't
finish
just
it.
cut it
Yeah.
off.
You know?
Yeah, and it's
So-
just we were into it by then too.
Yeah, and so it
Yeah.
became the opening song,
Yeah.
which was again completely unplanned.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember what happened after that. I think we eventually got into Stairway to Heaven, and
You
not
did
it was
all
much
bit-
later.
I like the
I
when
did
I'm
Beatles
64
too. Yeah.
intro, as in when you're explaining people
Oh.
what do you do. Yeah, I play guitar instrumentals. Or when someone asked, play me when I'm 64, and then you just strum the chords.
From one
and
chord to
that's it.
6 measures, and go to another chord for 8 measures, and come back to the first one for the last 2. And
As
say,
in, this
"Here-
doesn't make sense
Yeah.
when you're not
Yeah,
singing.
it's true.
I didn't know that sounded like when I'm 64. No, it wasn't. It could have been anything. It could have been the Star Spangled Banner.
Right.
Exactly. And then you incorporated the melody and was like, okay, this is what you do.
Right. Then I played it the way it is
Yeah.
on my Beatles album,
Yeah.
more or less.
Yeah, that was
So,
cool. It was
Yeah.
funny.
But yeah, so that and somebody else came up to me afterwards and said that the same type of thing that you were going into before I interrupted you for the last 10 minutes, which was that kind of at the end of Friday. It was Jason. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think you
Just
felt the same.
it felt like with just that first day of camp, I certainly got my money's worth.
Yeah.
And I just already had so much to work on and think about and process. So it was just great. And then I went home. I was tired. Well, no, I don't want to cut off.
No, that's
Then
okay.
Al Stewart came up.
Yeah.
And he.
Oh, that's right. There was more to the concert.
There was more
There was-
to
I
the concert
forget.
than Neil.
But that was also Dave.
And Dave,
Yeah.
I actually
we
like
were
what he did.
introduced to some very good
He
musicians.
sings nice too.
Dave.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he
So
does.
Dave Nachmanoff
Yeah.
is Al's main guitar player.
Yeah.
Not main. He's his accompanist.
I actually
Yeah.
really
And
liked his
he
song.
usually does his own set. He's got some great songs.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of people bought a bunch of his albums.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
of course had never heard of him. You
Yeah.
know? And so he did 5 or 6 songs.
Yeah.
And
And then there was.
and then Al came out and played
Yeah.
a bunch of songs with Dave. Some of his big hits.
Yeah.
Skipped a few.
Yeah.
I mean, he
Yeah.
doesn't put time passages on the
No,
on the
yeah.
playlist too much
Yeah.
anymore.
Or song on the radio.
He doesn't like
He
song on the
doesn't
radio.
like that.
Yeah.
We'll never forget that first line.
Yeah. What he was talking about there was the record company told him to write a hit, so he
Right.
did,
He did.
and he hates it.
Yeah.
And he says because he takes pride in his lyrics, and he says the first line is one of the dumbest things I ever wrote. It breaks all the rules. He uses the same word twice in the sentence, in
Right.
the 2 sentences.
Yeah.
I was making my way through the wasteland on the road that the town something passes through.
True.
And he says that's terrible.
Yeah.
He had great tips later on songwriting.
Oh,
he
yeah,
did.
absolutely.
It was. He can pull up lyrics and say, "In this I was doing this," but he'll just have several examples, and
Yeah, he's very
you can't
good
believe
examples.
how many ways that guy disguises a love song.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and the few that he played Antarctica. It was one of them.
Right.
It appears to be about the historical, quest for the South Pole.
Right.
And
But it's a
stuff.
love song.
Yeah.
Deeply
Deep down there, it's like
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and then he
It's
played a
great.
joke kind of love song,
Oh,
like
yeah.
"Ooh, I love you, baby, baby," kind of something.
He did a little punk. Was that punk?
Oh.
Head thump.
Oh, dull thud.
Dull thud.
Yeah, yeah. He did some things that he would never
did.
do on stage.
Yeah, it was really, really fun. I think he was very comfortable and just was having a good time.
Yeah,
And of course we did too.
yeah.
And then the 3 of you played.
Yeah.
That was
That
a
was
thrill.
cool, too.
Yeah, yeah. He brought me out to play a couple of tunes. We did Night Train to Munich,
Yeah,
Fields of
that's-
France, End of the Day, and Almost Lucy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was really just it. As I was driving him to the sound check, he said, "Well, what songs? What do you want to join us for?"
Yeah.
I said, "Well, I could probably handle these, and I've been working on the hard one a little bit, Night Train to Munich." Has probably evidence in some videos floating around. I think I've gone through the Lawrence Kubert
Yeah,
stuff
you've
in that
played
a
it
few
here and
times.
there. Yeah.
But so that was
Yeah, that was
definitely
totally
a thrill.
cool.
to
Yeah.
come out and
Yeah.
and do that. So yeah, so that was a
That was day one.
power-packed day.
Yes, it
Friday.
was. It
Wow.
was. And believe it or not, I was not one of them. I came home and went to bed. But there were people who were
Yeah,
up till
yeah,
all
yeah.
hours playing together.
I went to bed too.
By the time I took Al back to the hotel, and by the time Nani and I were driving back up there, it was close to midnight, and I was really hoping that there were lights on in the lodge and there were
Yeah.
people in there playing, and and sure enough, we go by, there's lights on in the lodge, so I pull in instead of heading up to where we were staying, and go in, and this was a great scene. I you know what, I think I got a little video of it, but it was a little bit later. But there was you guys came up with the term.
Yeah, of all these people,
Hovered over one
Hovered
thing, for
one-
example,
one-
like an iPad.
right, which either
That
has
was,
the chords or the words.
Yeah.
Was
And,
that Saturday night?
That's
Friday
what you mean?
night,
And it
I
also,
saw
They did the
this.
same?
it also
Oh,
Happy
okay.
Friday.
yeah,
it
and so
was-
we have called it a guitar scrum.
Yeah.
Like in rugby.
So I think I did get a picture over somebody's shoulder
Yes,
of
and
6 or 7 people
I have some. I'll post.
around an
I think
iPad.
Right.
You know, and they're
Which
flipping
scrolls
it
down
around.
all by itself.
Hey, get off my outpost, buddy. So yes, Monday is garbage day here,
and I think
Oh my
Friday
God.
is too.
for the other half of the street. Yeah, so we
Okay.
have Friday pickup.
Yeah.
My neighbors do.
Uh-huh.
And then
Because we only often hear the truck on the Friday news.
yeah, on the news.
There it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. This is the really loud one. This is
Yeah.
the
Pizza. Oh, whatever.
yeah, this is the
Anyway.
garden one, so it's more like a tractor goes out and picks up stuff off the street. So welcome to, our Monday morning.
Yes.
And pretty soon we'll start having gardeners across the street. And,
Oh, the
great.
blowers.
leaf blowers
Yes.
will come out and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So, but yeah, I think Friday night people were up quite late.
Right.
Yeah.
I talked to someone, I think it might have been Jason. I think he got a total of like 5 hours of sleep over the whole
Yeah, he didn't
event.
get much.
'Cause, people came and it was our chance to interact and play together, and
Yeah,
we,
absolutely.
So the
definitely want to do that.
a couple people I talked to the next morning, and I said, "Hey, there were a bunch of people playing in here. What were you doing?" I said, "Oh, we were playing in our room." So people there were 3 in most rooms, and so I think a lot of people
Yeah.
just went to their rooms and played with.
Right, you
Yeah.
could
Their
you could
roommates.
hear music coming from the rooms,
Yeah.
above us.
Yeah, yeah.
It was fun.
And interestingly, our wonderful cook Todd,
Yeah.
the next morning, that next morning, as people were kind of like straggling in for breakfast, said, "I have to run out really quick." He says, "I've never seen anybody, any group I've never seen anybody drink this much coffee." He says, "I thought usually 5 pounds get me through like a weekend."
Oh,
He says,
no.
"You guys, I'm out one day."
Right.
You know?
That the coffee machine, the guys, the last people will go to bed, and an hour later we're turning on the coffee machine. So
Yeah, there was a lot of coffee drinking.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.